Montreal. Montreal is one of the greatest cities in the world. And the only thing that keeps people away from moving here and occupying this place, two things. The cold winters, and I don't mean French-speaking people, because they're snooty in French. I mean the French language, the language police, and Bill 101, and all of that ruckus. But even as cold as it is here, I've been on a land much colder. The year is 2020, and I'm pretty excited about this year. I had a lot of things that I was going to do. I have my husband, I have my boyfriend, I have maybe the possibility of riding in the summertime somewhere exotic and fun. I'm about to really get into some painting, and I'm just ready for whatever. And then that all happens. And when it goes down, I remember they did the big shutdown. I live in Montreal. Montreal did some extreme shutdowns. Everything just was closing. My son lived in the building, same building, and he was getting nervous. And we know what happened during 2020. So that a friend of mine, who I usually cycle with every once in a while in the summertime, he says all the restaurants are closed and looks like I'm out of work. So I'm like, yeah, things are falling apart. And then he talks to me a month or so later. He says, I got a job. I work in the north, and they fly me to work every 2 weeks. I was like, that sounds like fun. I mean, yeah, if nothing, I'm an adventurer. Like, I just was like, all I heard was flying and up north and adventure. I'm like, I want to come. I want to do that. What are you doing? I want to go up there. Whatever you're doing, I want to do it. Can you get me in? And he was like, yeah, he's very French. He was like, when they call you, tell them that you'll work in maintenance. What are you talking about? I'm not going to just tell somebody I know maintenance. I don't know anything about maintenance. What I didn't understand was he is so French. What he just meant to say was housekeeping. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I'll do housekeeping. I'll do dishes. Like, I don't care. Just get me out of Montreal and somewhere in the world. And I know the pandemic was everywhere, but just somewhere where something else is happening. I'm up for it. Let's go. They called and gave me the information. So I was super excited. I was like, these standing outside in the lineups waiting for food and all that. I was like, just, yeah, something different. So after reading the email and everything, I went up in November. Yes. I packed up whatever they said to bring, which wasn't much because you wear a uniform there, you work 12 hours. And at 3 a.m, I got a taxi. Now, during this time of the pandemic, there were no cars on the road. You had to have papers. It was very, very like a movie. So got the taxi, Went right to the hotel airport. Cost me $30. I don't think you can get a taxi anywhere in Montreal for $30. But there was not a car on the road, so we just went to this hotel, a Fairview hotel. And from there, I was waiting for a shuttle. My first time, I'm looking around. It looks like these are all kind of work guys. So we go into a shuttle, and because it's that time of what's going on in the world, only one person's allowed to sit in a seat. There's two seats, but only one person. And I think even somebody can't be behind you. And it was all very, very organized, and you had to sign your name. And then they took us to a private airport where we all got COVID tested, the regular nose one, and waited a long period of time, like longer than I didn't know what the process was. I had my phone, but we waited probably like, I felt like 3 hours in that airport just waiting. And that's the first time I had pain in my back just because of that waiting and not knowing and cold and uncomfortable. And I would have done it differently if I'd known, and then they called our plane and everybody gets up and we flew to Val d'Or, and then we picked up some people and refueled, and then we flew to Nunavut and got off that plane. And I don't know, it definitely was more than minus 20. And of course, it's not an airport. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the middle of Nunavut, and there's no community around us. There's just the tarmac, and then about 5 steps after you step off the plane, you get into a bus. So you're not in the element. But the minute you step out of the plane and onto the rail that you have to walk down the steps, whew, that hit slaps the shit out of you. I'm telling you, it just whoop. And I hold rails anyway, just because of my age and everything. I'm not playing when it comes to things. So I hold rails. There's ice. There's people. I hold the rail and I walk down, and I had to. There was nothing stopping that wind. And I don't know if you know this, but there are no trees in Nunavut. There's nothing. There's no buildings. There's no nothing. The wind is just straight moving across at whatever direction it's moving, and it is just piercing. So those, I don't know, 10 steps off the ramp, 5 more onto the bus, and it's a bus. It's not like all warm and cozy. It's a school bus, but it's not outside. And we get in the school bus and we ride about 2 minutes, and then we're at this complex. And I get all situated and do the orientation and do the training. And welcome to the North. I am in Nunavut, and I'm about to have my adventure, which is making beds and cleaning toilets. And, I worked that job for a very long time before I even knew I was a housekeeper, because I was still in the mindset of I work up north. And people would ask what I do, but I still didn't understand. When I understood? This guy, when I was at the second mine, which I'll talk about later because that was way better experience. This guy, he had his laundry, and he said, "Can I give you my own detergent, because we have our detergent?" And he said, "And can you put these sheets in with what do you call it, fabric softener?" And I just looked at him, which nobody ever asked, but I was just like, "Well, what am I, a housekeeper? What am I, your maid?" And as I was about to say it, I was like, "Oh, I am." Imagine doing a job and not even realizing it. That's how much I was enjoying the job, because I didn't even think about it as a cleaning job. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was so much fun that I didn't even think of it in any other way, but I work up north. A friend of mine called me yesterday morning, and she said she has an opportunity to get a job up north in a town. I worked at a gold mine, so I didn't work in a community or anything like that. But she just wanted some information about what it was like there and what to expect, and things that she could say in her interview that would help her. And at first, I was just like, oh yeah, it's like this. You're going to need this, and it's like this, and the people are like this. And I went through it. And the more I went through it, I was like, I have a lot of information about being up there, a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't think about. I live in Montreal, and we have a lot of the Inuit community just on the street, always on the street, and begging and quite a ruckus, to be honest. And if that was your only interaction with the Inuit community, you would have such a negative outlook on it. And when you go up there and you meet these people, they're fun and funny, and they love to laugh. They're playful. They're really cute and sweet. And I was so glad that I got to be around them in that environment and not just have the Canadian view of what I see here in Montreal. When I went there in 2020, it was because of the pandemic. So, what the gold mine that I worked at, what their policy was, is that they were going to remove all the Inuit community that worked for them because they couldn't have people being infected by COVID-19. So they had to make sure that they kept this community of people safe. They didn't, and there's no hospitals out there. So if something was and trust me, things were rampant at that time, especially in Quebec. So they just removed them all from their jobs. Those people had been working there for years, and they brought us up there to fill in, you know. And I didn't ever expect to be there once they came back for their job. But it was an amazing day when they came back for their job, and I was there, and I stayed a bit longer, a couple years longer after they came back. And I'll tell those stories in a while. But I am so glad I got to meet these people and to forge relationships with them and to break bread with them or caribou. I was so glad I was there. My friendships from the north are very dear to me. Nunavut, baby. I'm here to talk about the Great North. That's where you and I met.
Yes, the mine life.
Mine life. Oh my goodness. I haven't even written that book yet. I was going to write a book. It was going to be called Year of Mine.
I love the title.
Yeah, but then 1 year turned into 3, and then it kind of like so much happened that it couldn't possibly fit in a year.
Are you still going to write that book?
I have to. I have to write some kind of book about that experience because that was mind blowing.
Mine.
So the North was really magical in a way. It was a place like no other. It was very extremely cold. We worked very hard. It took a lot of people out. Some people worked up there and never made it back. They just mentally, it just really broke them. You really have to have a sense about yourself to work in such extreme situations. But I'm so glad and honored that I did it and that I came out of it and that it's over. I'm glad I didn't make it a lifetime thing and be a mine rat. I mean, kudos to them. Because some people, I saw a woman, a friend of mine, who built a house. She built a whole house. She's a miner up there, and she works hard, and she built a house. I'm so proud of her. For me, it was something I wouldn't want to do for more than 5 years. I did 3, and I did kind of on and off. But it's intense and it's a lot. But when it's good, it's really good. I really, really enjoyed my time up there.